Proverbs 13:12, Solomon said it makes the heart sick. So what's the solution for deferred hope? It's exhausting, right? And then after a while, we just become complacent in the areas in which we once had excitement and even motivation.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, I guess right now it's hitting me differently because I am so by nature someone who I thrive off of hope deferred. Yeah. It's actually, to me, it's one of the greatest motivators. Okay, so you already told you my ring on the mantle, that was hope deferred, but that I channeled that in a powerful way, in a good way for me. But what I tend to do is I build up things in the future to a degree that they, even when the desire comes as the tree of life, as that verse ends, it help but live up to what I was putting on it. So my thing now is trying to turn off some of that, turn off a little bit of that, and more, whether it's a family day and I was like in my head how it's going to go, and stop controlling and over programming those things so that my kids don't want to really be a part of it, because they don't want to be necessarily, cast in a role in a movie that I've produced in my head, what our day is going to look like. They just more or less want to chill. So I've had to actually kind of like a little bit, what do they say about a strength? On the backside of a strength is a double curse, so
exactly.
Anything you're good at doing can become the end of you. So I try to do with my kids undirected play, where when I'm playing with my son, I don't change or morph the game or come up with a better idea or a new suggestion. Instead, I just go where it goes and let it ramble a little bit. I found that I'm OCD and I have compulsive tendencies that make it very hard for me not to be the director in any situation I'm in. And I feel like that hope deferred thing is a double-edged sword because it's the best thing about me, but it's also something I have to really, really rein in environments where it would be inappropriate.
So connecting that point, then I'd love to know in your life, in Jenny's life, how do you build resilience?
Well, the resilience or the anti-fragility, that I think comes actually kind of naturally. I think I love chaos. I love war. I naturally,
wow.
And I'm in battle mode. You know what I mean? Like this thing, like that's very good. So again, you're catching me at a moment where I think it is really incredibly important to be intentional about fostering the anti-fragility piece and I'm not only going to not be destroyed by trials, I'm going to thrive in the midst of them and create, in one of my books I talk about creating bullets out of a statue, like they raise a statue, melt it down and make bullets out of it, like that whole piece. But also leaning into not every day's battle. Not every time is sound the war drums. We need the Sabbath day rest, just like we need Monday's work ethic. And you've got to also take the year of Jubilee, Yeah. And so I think it's knowing just because you can doesn't mean you should. And not every day is meant to be a 50-mile march.
That's good. So what do you do when you feel stuck? As a 3, I'm putting the pieces together, Levi, and I'm super curious because I'm a self-preservation Enneagram 1 hardcore. And so I relate to some aspects of the 3, but I'm just curious, you've talked about resilience. You've talked about just kind of navigating through your own insecurities, but when you get stuck, what do you do?
Well, I think you have to ask yourself, am I just at a plateau, which is necessary? Nothing's up and to the right forever. So am I just at a plateau? Am I just at 23, 24? And if I can just keep going 14 more times, I'm going to get there. So what I'm trying to say is, am I really stuck? When I feel stuck, that doesn't mean I am stuck. I might just be in the middle, the messy middle on the way to breakthrough. So when I feel those feelings of stuck, I have to stop and ask myself, is this because I'm shifting into victim mode? Am I stressed? And therefore I'm shooting off fireworks going, or am I not feeling validated? What is it about me that's making me feel stuck? Because Joshua probably felt stuck on a seventh, the seventh day when he's like, I'm only 3 laps in. Am I stuck, or am I just being faithful? So I'm definitely on that long obedience in the same direction train. Like I'm wanting to, if I'm in a moment like that, or then I would ask myself too, like similarly, am I potentially not stuck, but perhaps doing something I shouldn't be doing? Do I need to retool? Do I need to quit making so many rollerblades? People are not buying the rollerblades anymore. It's like, that's another thing to ask yourself. Am I trying to, like, the great mistake in life is to get to the top of the ladder and realize it was against the wrong wall. So feelings of stuck could mean I need to reframe this and keep motivated, or maybe I need to be man enough to quit doing something. And it's harder to stop things than it is to start things. And maybe I'm not getting traction because I'm not meant to be doing this.
How do we know? Like, that's such a good point that you brought up, and it's a curious point for me. How do we know the difference between staying the course when everyone else fizzles out on the hype, you're just keeping your head down and going for it, versus, as you said, we put the ladder up against the wrong wall to begin with. People aren't ordering the rollerblades anymore. How do we know?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, when are you Warby Parker or Netflix? And if we can just get traction, I mean, Amazon wasn't profitable for years, so you could have easily felt stuck. Those pictures of Bezos you'll see sitting in that crappy desk in Seattle, all that. So it's like, was he stuck? No, he was onto something. So I think there has to be the fire in the belly, and that's why I think the Bible actually, for those who are thinking about pastoring, talks about don't lay hands on someone suddenly. Don't just get into it because church planning's sexy, or because you want to have Instagram celebrity, or whatever you might have.
So good.
Base motivation, because it won't be enough to get you through the hard times. So I think you got to really know you're called to what you're doing. You have to believe in the dream. And I think in the early days, you got to really be gripped with that enough to where it's going to weather the hard times. And so then I would say also it's knowing the right time to walk away and the right time to change the game. So, I mean, I would love to give you an easy answer on that. But I think at the end of the day, it's that tension that really exists in, does this need to exist? Is this something that if I fight for long enough, and am I willing to give? When we started our church, we said 5 years. We'll give 5 years to this. It wasn't I'm in this to the grave. It was not I'm going to walk away after the first hard year. I was considering half a decade, and that's enough to determine, is God in this or not? So I think we don't want to be risk averse, but I also think we don't want to, try to dig through bedrock with a shovel for forever. If you realize, hey, we hit bedrock, maybe we go dig somewhere else.
It's really good. I think one of the things that I've wrestled with, hit my mid-30s and all this, I think all of us do, it's the motivation of our heart. Am I doing this to be well-liked and to be well-known, or am I doing this to be effective? And effectiveness has different sizes, and it's okay. It's Seth Godin's 1,000 True Fans, but it starts with 10 people, right? And again, I know that mixes the metaphor of well-liked and well-known, but I guess the point sticks. Like, I want my life to be effective, Levi. I want to be found faithful to the Lord. Yep. Yeah.
That's it. And I think that's why it comes back down to motivation, and it comes back down to mission, and it comes back down to values. So if you really know your why, Simon Sinek language, you will have the power to push through the hard seasons and the slumps, so to speak. And I think you'll remain pure, and you're trying to add value to the world. To do anything, to be liked, to be successful, so to speak, to get rich, is, I think, regardless of what you're doing, gonna ultimately end up being something that can't support the weight you're going to try and put on. So I think if you really hang it on, like what I'm doing today, what I'm going to give my life for, I really believe is a call from God. Then you'll have. I mean, Phil Knight said it. If you do anything for a calling, a sense of calling on your life, you'll be able to get through anything that you have to on the way to accomplishing that.